Thank you so much for staying here. It's now time to bring you the news. And the Inspector General of Police has been meeting the leading members of the NPP and the NDC plus one of the independent candidates in today's by-election in Kumawu. This follows tension between the NPP and one of the independent candidates. Now, constituents will decide today who their next MP will be after the demise of Philip Baswa. Now, though the NPP has won that seat over the years, an independent candidate, Kwaku Duah, came close to snatching it in the 2020 parliamentary elections. Let's now hear from the candidates in today's election.
I can say that we have a very good chance because we lost the seat and we are poised. And as you all know, Kumawu is a traditional NPP seat, and it's something that we've been working on all these years. And since the campaign started, I've been working so hard day and night because we don't want to just relax and think that is our seat. So we are definitely going to get that no. I've been working very hard, and you've all witnessed the number of people we have within the constituency. We have from our national to the region to the government officials. Everybody is here to help me campaign, and we believe that with the work we've put in, we stand a very good chance of winning the by-election come Tuesday.
The several polls seems to suggest or put you ahead of your competitors. As a candidate, does it make you somehow swollen-headed?
No, I'm not swollen-headed at all. This all only encourages me to work hard because I know that in politics you can't be complacent. And one thing that I have maintained is that it's not just about the win, but it's about the margin of win. So if you're able to put up a good show and we are able to get a very wide margin, then the good people of Kumawu understand that, yes, I'm the chosen one for the constituency, and they believe in my capabilities and they believe in what I can do for the good people of Kumawu. So we are not going to relent. We are going to work hard and push to get at least a percentage that would motivate the government to bring more development to Kumawu.
So in your own estimation, what percentage will motivate the government enough to bring development to your constituents?
I am not going to put out any numbers, but what I believe in is that we are going to do better than we did the last elections, and I'm confident that we'll do more, and the government will be happy for what we have been able to achieve by the end of Tuesday.
Yeah. Your slogan is Nkabo Muhene.
Yes.
What does that mean?
Okay, so what we came to meet, we all know that there were divisions within the party in the constituency, and my vision was to try to bring all the factions together to try to unify the party, and that is something that I've been able to achieve since I won the primaries. And now you have all witnessed that the party is more united, and we all understand that we have a common goal, which is to defeat our opponents, the NDC and the independent candidates. So we believe in unity. We believe that in unity we'll get development.
Our chances is very great. We're going to win this election. As you can see, it's not going to be a marginal win. It's going to be a landslide victory because Kumawu is ready to make history.
Today the president was here, the vice and other persons within government were all here to campaign for the NPP's candidate. NPP pulled massive crowd here at Kumawu earlier today. I'm seeing your campaign. You've done two separate campaigns here today. Comparing the crowd to yours, don't you think your numbers are not as encouraging as the NPP's numbers?
I mean, this is political gimmicks that the NDC used to play ages ago. You saw the numbers and you saw the buses. So let's not misplace those facts. There's a lot of buses that came from Kumasi. So if you bus people here, you can tickle yourself and have a laugh. You saw our rally. The one in Oyuko, the one in Botmasi. These are indigents. There are no buses around here. You can turn your cameras around. These are indigents who are going to force and effect this change. And it was the same in Oyuko. The MPP can tickle themselves and have a laugh by busing people to deceive people that they have the crowd. At the end of the day, come Tuesday, Kumawu is going to rewrite history in the constituency.
Looking at the numbers from the previous elections, it looks like the NPP has always given the NDC margins when it comes to the votes that the NPP is able to acquire in this constituency. What makes this time different?
What makes the difference is we've handed an opportunity to the MPP party as a constituency. And at this moment, for 28 good years, we've realized the MPP party does not have anything good for this constituency. And this time around, unfortunately for them, NDC has a candidate in myself, Kwesi Amankwa, who is an advocate for change, who is a visionary, who is ready to develop Kumawu. And now my message is going down. The youth of Kumawu especially are ready for this change, and they are backing this change, and they are ready to rewrite history. And we're going to rewrite history. That's why the data that's there is going to be rewritten.
We are seeing an improvement in road facilities and other infrastructure within the Kumawu constituency, and the NPP have been touting this achievement today at their rally. What is your message to your people, especially concerning people who are being convinced by the development that they are seeing?
After 28 years, if this is all MPP can boast of, I mean, it's just pathetic. And aside from that, I take pride in what is happening because we stood up against the MPP. We are not even in parliament yet. We stood up and we are advocating for development in Kumawu. And this is what they can do to show. And this is what they can boast about after 28 years. This shoddy roads, I mean, development is development. They must as well do better roads. We deserve better. And the youth of Kumawu and Bodmase are crying out for better development.
To us who voted and who are from this constituency, everybody knew that I won that election. And for that reason, I was bent on going to court to seek redress. Well, some movements went on and they came and apologized through the Omanyene. He's my grandfather. So when he called me, I obliged. When they approached me that, hey, we want to know what you're going to do, they knew I was the right person to go. That's why they approached me in the first place. They should have asked me to go uncontested. And I told them that. I said, listen, if I contest with anybody, I will lose. Why? Because I don't have anybody to vote for me. So we'll leave it to the people to decide whom they trust, whom they can trust, whom they think can deliver for them. And I'm doing it with my own money, with my own resources. So do you think if the government gives me something for developmental project within the constituency or the community, I'm going to blow it? No, I'll use it for that purpose.
So you've heard from three of the candidates, first the NPP, then the NDC, then Kwaku Duah, who is one of the independent candidates. The second one, another Kwaku Duah, has expressed disappointment in the Electoral Commission over the change of his symbol on the ballot paper to a hoe. The candidate had earlier opted for a falcon, which was protested by the other independent candidate who used a white dove with an olive leaf in its beak. The agitated second Kwaku Duah, speaking to Lava FM's Danaya Ojima, explained his team had sent two different sketches of a bird to the EC to replace the earlier symbol.
Nobody has ever confronted myself or any member of my campaign team that my logo resembles that of the other independent candidates, so therefore they might be confused during the election. I was a bit baffled, but, with humility, I concurred with the EC. And then the EC went on and gave me a who. We didn't have any agreement on that. Probably maybe I could have chosen another symbol for mine. But they didn't. What happened was that they wrote me a letter and I replied. When I replied, I gave them another sketch with a gold outline. That was sketch number 1. And then I gave them a second sketch with a light blue outline. Dr. Sibo Kweku explained to them that the EC was waiting for my reply, and they didn't get any reply. They didn't get any reply from mine, and so therefore they've gone ahead to choose, the who for me as my symbol. So I didn't agree, and I opposed. But they said that they are being backed by constitutional instruments and all that. So there was nothing that I could do with it. My ardent followers and supporters had advised me that they are not there to look at symbols to vote. They only know Kwaku Duah to be occupying the number 4 on the ballot. And come 23rd May, they are going to do the needful for me.
Stay with us here on your election headquarters. We will be live in Kumawu as well as bring you in-depth analysis here on the show away from Kumawu for the news. The Upper West Regional Communication Bureau of the NDC has given a 2-week ultimatum to government to make available enough food, ingredients and money to headmasters of various senior high schools in the Upper West region. Now, this is to enable them feed students and run schools effectively. The group says shortage of food at schools has forced headmasters to turn to beggars and borrowers in order to cater for the students. Rafiq Salam reports from WA.
The Akufo-Addo government in 2017 rolled out the free senior high school policy anchored on 4 pillars: removal of cost barriers, expansion of infrastructure, improvement in quality and quantity, and development of employable skills. Under the policy, the National Buffer Stock Company, with the help of licensed suppliers, restock the food reserves and distribute the food to schools and various senior high schools in the country. 6 years after it was rolled out, the Upper West Regional Communications Bureau of the National Democratic Congress, NDC, has some concerns over its implementation. Leading the charge is the Upper West Regional Communications Officer of the NDC, Issa Kantajari.
The summary of the state of Akufo-Addo's poorly implemented and failed free senior high school program is a story of empty bragging rhetoric, display of arrogance, intransigence, empty flowery, heavily accented talk, and monumental failure.
Speaking at a press conference held in WA, Issa Kantajari stated that their checks at the various senior high schools in the Upper West region have revealed all schools have not received their recurrent expenditure and the arrears have accrued since 2021. As a result, the schools are currently starved of the needed funds and resources to keep the schools running, especially for feeding of students at the boarding houses and also impeding administrative works at the schools.
Some senior high schools in the region have not been feeding their students even a single meal. The reason for this happenstance was that government has either not provided them with food staff or is owing the caterers who cook for these students a lot of money, and caterers simply do not have money to continue to cook for these innocent students, and hence these students are sleeping on empty stomach, while institution managers and their directors have all been cowed into submission and muted from uttering a word to the media about these challenges the schools were faced with.
The NDC Upper West Region Communications Bureau also made the following observations on the food served at the dining halls.
Over a year today, for breakfast, children have been served with food with 1 ladle each of poor quality porridge or tea, most often without sugar or milk, let alone talk of bread or breadfruit, popularly called bofruit in Ghanaian parlance. Then for lunch, the quality and quantity of food served students had also been depreciating badly, and for a while, children were being served with some violent colored soup until some time. But now as we write, for lunch, children are being served every day 1 ladle of white rice without any semblance of stew, gravy, soup or sauce, not even oil. Again, for supper, the same white rice, or in some cases teased, is served, while same rice, water without sugar was being served every day for breakfast.
The dire and helpless situation, according to the NDC Communications Bureau, has forced headmasters to turn into beggars and borrowers.
It will surprise you to know that headmasters have now turned into professional beggars, begging left, right, center, just to feed our senior high school students. It is trite knowledge that headmasters have also resorted to borrowing foodstuffs, sometimes 1 or 2 bags, from colleagues and benevolent individuals in order to feed their innocent students for just a meal, while future males are left to an undecided destiny.
They concluded by giving the government a 2-week ultimatum to work to change the situation at senior high schools in the Upper West region.
We are giving the Akufo-Addo government a 2-week ultimatum from today to, as a matter of urgency, make available to the senior high schools in the Upper West region enough food and other ingredients as well as manna to enable headmasters purchase the necessary perishables that are needed to feed our brothers and sisters in our senior high schools. Anything short of that will warrant series of actions from us until the government succumbs and sees the need to do the needful.
Upper West Regional Manager of the Buffer Star Company, Akansiba John, however, has declined to speak on the issue. Reporting for the news, Rafik Salam.
We're still on education. Some pupils of Adaklu Aveleba District Assembly Basic School in the Adaklu District of the Volta region continue to bear the brunt of the weather as they study under trees. This is because the junior high school department lacks the needed infrastructure to enable teaching and learning. Fred Kwame Asare visited the school. Here's his report.
The Abu-Baidoo Basic School serves as an educational center for satellite communities in the enclave. The junior high school department does not have a befitting classroom block. 2 out of 3 thatch structures constructed by the community folks to accommodate the students were destroyed by a storm. This compelled the school's management to house forms 2 and 3 under trees.
And this is a structure that we used to, sit under before teaching the kids. But sometimes when it rains, we find it difficult to be under the shade for lesson to go on. When it rains, that becomes a main problem. Sometimes we don't come to school at all because of the rain nature of the nature of the road. Yeah.
The pupils are not happy with the development as it is affecting academic activities. We don't feel comfortable learning under the structure. We are scorched by the sun and drenched when it rains. Our books are not spared. Another challenge is the lack of accommodation for teachers in the area. The teachers live more than 20 kilometers away and commute to school on weekdays. Abigail Hekbo is a teacher at the Abu-Baidoo Basic School.
We are far away from the school, so we normally take motorbikes to school. And when it rains, we find it very difficult to come to school. Let's say it's rained heavily and the water overflows. At times, the road becomes flooded and the motorbikes cannot pass through the flood. So we have to stay back and wait for, let's say, 3 or 4 or even a week before we come to school. So when the students come to school and they find that we are not around, they also go home and stop coming to school. They take it as holiday.
The headmaster, Augustus Soji, appealed for the construction of a pavilion to house the pupils in the interim.
If we can get at least 3 unit classroom, if not a full classroom, it should be at least a pavilion. So that even if community is ready to put a block under it. So if that can be done, at least for the children to feel comfortable in their classrooms, and also at least a place for the teachers to stay so that they can stay, because the teachers are staying more than 20 kilometers far away from the school, and it becomes difficult when teachers give homework. They don't have anybody to help them. So in case the teachers are around, the children can visit them, and so that they are being helped, and that will help a long way for the development of the school.
The management of the Abu-Baidoo Basic School hopes that the government or a philanthropic organization would come to their aid and provide a 3-unit classroom block and teachers' accommodation for the school. Fred Kwame Asare, Joy News, Adaklu, Avelebe.
Away from education, a neurologist at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, Professor Stephen Safo, is advising stroke survivors to desist from using herbal ointments to treat their condition. His call follows a study that found that many stroke survivors turn to herbal medication with hopes of seeing improvement in their condition. Joy News' medical correspondent, Dr. Nesta Pasram, has more in this report.
The museum Abu-Baidoo, background American say Abu-Baidoo. We used to, you know. And I prefer no.
Anecdotal evidence suggests the use of herbal preparations in the management of stroke among many Africans. The study, published in the Journal of Neurological Sciences, revealed that 43.4% of participants use herbal preparations when managing stroke. The main reasons for their use include expectations of faster recovery, cure, and superior effectiveness compared to approved conventional medications.
They are not just focusing on the orthodox medication, but there are other sources of treatment that they go to, including herbal medication and so forth. Now, our analysis showed clearly that those who are on herbal medications, their blood pressures were not as well controlled as those who were not on herbal medications. And that belief in herbal medication is something that we need to start working on and addressing. Because stroke survivors need to understand that, number one, there's a risk factor for the stroke, and that is maybe hypertension or high cholesterol, so those factors need to be addressed. But importantly, a lot of our stroke survivors only focus on the deficits or the disability that they have. So most of the herbal medications are applied to the skin, to the leg that is paralyzed, with the hope that applying them topically would help them to regain their strength. But as I explained in my earlier presentation, I said that the pathology in stroke occurs in the brain. So really applying agents to the skin may not be able to get to the brain to be able to reverse the damage that is done. And so it's something that we need to, as a country, collectively look at how we can balance this orthodox herbal medication use in the context of stroke care. Definitely, I'm sure those who are using herbal medications have done some research on their own or have done some work on their own. And so we are not entirely saying that herbal preparations are to be banned or it's bad, no. What we are saying is that before we prescribe any herbal medication, we should at least know what the targets for the treatment is compared to what they're able to derive when they take their orthodox medication.
Professor Stephen Safo advises that individuals should manage their stroke risks such as high blood pressure, high cholesterol, and diabetes. Reporting for Joy News, Dr. Nesta Pasram.
And that's how we end this edition of the AM News. We'll be back delving into the newspaper headlines in a minute. Do stay.